Hey guys, part three. Okay, so here's some vacations for you. When you watch the positive videos, 20 to 40 minutes in the morning, 20 to 40 minutes before you go to bed, then you can do that every day, or you could do it 5 days at a minimum, or maybe 6 days, possibly as a maximum, and pace yourself. I understand how uncomfortable and how difficult it is to watch a positive video. I mean, for example, the police brutality video, with the 15-year-old girl getting kicked in the gut, knocked in the face a few times, smashed against the wall, pulled down on the ground, heavy knee into her back rib cage by like a 220 something pound, very fit, heavy boned, guy who's performing the duty of a police officer, and her hair's being like squeezed so bad I'm sure she lost some hair, at least maybe 50 or 100 hairs or something with the way his grip was on her head. All because she was a 15-year-old teenage girl, probably with the mind of a 12-year-old. We're not as always mature as our age. When we're 15, sometimes we behave like we're 12. And when she kicked, I saw this one video where she kicked her shoe at a cop when she was in a holding cell, and he just beat the shit out of her. And the other cop completely goes along with, like, that's fine, doesn't interfere, lets it be done. She was probably behaving a lot similar as she would with her little brother. And, something like that. You know, she's a 15-year-old girl, and girls become women, and women are a little catty sometimes. But that young woman got the shit beaten out of her, you know? So how do you go from observing that video to I'm filled with peace and love and light, and I am creating more love and peace and light, and I'm proud of that, and this, and so it is, and let it be so. How do you feel genuine and honest about that kind of affirmation, that kind of feeling, that kind of inner relationship between what I'm feeling and thinking, positivity, my immune system is reacting to it and making healthier and better blood cells and empowering the immunity to negative chemicals and pathogens. We all know that through science, or maybe you could read a book from Deepak Chopra where he talks about the mind-body connection and how meditators have higher quality immune systems than those that don't, or that someone who hasn't meditated gets their blood taken, then they go into a high quality meditation with 100 other people for this scientific survey, and 45 minutes later they have their blood taken again, and their immune system is phenomenal, and it stays up 4 to 5 hours after the meditation. That is science. That may not be true to you because you have not read that book. You have not looked at the numbers of it. You haven't seen that in a bunch of other videos. And you haven't really, maybe remembered the experience of it. But when you're feeling truly happy, your immune system goes up, your thinking gets clearer, and life can become a lot more simpler. But here's the downside to it, guys. When you're really feeling positive and up, and you see something like that video, you see something bad, or you find out the fluoride in your water, while it may or may not strengthen your teeth and bones, it definitely dumbs down the brain, for sure. So, when you look at it logically, when you find out about that kind of thing, it's shocking. Why would a government agency allow a chemical in my water that may help my bones while it may retard my brain's thinking? It makes my brain cloudy and not fluid. Causes some Emotional upset in higher dosages, fluoride. Why would they put that in the water? I mean, that's got to be something I'm drinking all day, every day, while I have a cup of tea at Starbucks, to taking a bath and my skin just sucks it all in. It's a shocking thing when you find out how nice really well-filtered water is. It's a shocking thing when you realize that government officials are good people, but there's something going on where there's some bad people somewhere, and they seem to have a fulcrum of power to get that fluoride in your water. And it's shocking when you find out the talk and the conversation around population destruction programs, how to decrease population. I know that when I garden in my yard, some plants I don't want to grow. Or sometimes if you have too much of one, you might take it out. On this planet, this one here, Earth, it's teeming with life and abundance. And there are authorities. A tiger in the forest is a form of authority, but so is the parasite in the forest is a form of authority. There's a multitude of authorities, but us as humans, we are very, very unique where we can suffer greatly, or we can be in a world of pleasure and treasure. We must focus on the pleasure and treasure. There's times in my life where I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and somebody tried to steal my jacket, and 7 or 8 of their friends tried to help. And I fought off a group of people, but in a special way. I didn't ignite more violence, but I protected myself. And I played a really good acting game, and it turned out a couple of them even stopped the original instigators. I was able to break free. They really tried to kill me, if you felt what it had felt like in that moment. And it happened a couple times within a few minutes. There was no place for me to run until the time was right. And when it was right, I got my jacket and I ran. And I got safe. Years later, I was here in San Francisco, and my mind wasn't in the best space. It wasn't bad. It was pretty normal, but it wasn't in the best space. A group of guys walk down the street. I'm sitting down outside at a cafe, and they look at me, and I felt it. I knew these guys were going to attack me. And that's what happens in martial arts. You sense stuff, and just like cops can sense stuff too. But if you're paranoid, you sense it wrong, and if you're at ease, you'll sense it right. These guys came down the street. I knew they were going to give me and my girlfriend a hard time at the time. And so I just put a beautiful picture in the front of my brain. I had her do the same thing in the prefrontal cortex. I felt incredible about it. You can learn more about that from What the Bleep Do We Know? Part 2, the movie, interviews. The back of the disc is really nice. And I trusted that thought feeling, and I was willing to have these guys hit me with my eyes closed, because I trust that feeling so well. And these guys walked right by me, and I held it, and I said, should I look up just to double check? I said, no, I trust the spirit. Boom! I felt incredible, felt beautiful. I said, I'd rather make love with my girlfriend all night than be nursing, anxiety over injuring 5 or 6 people severely. And I'll, having to split the scene because I don't want to deal with that. So they ended up beating up some guys standing right next to me. And the guys who were getting beat up said, why are you doing this? Who are you guys? We don't know you. And they're like, fuck you. You don't need to know us. And they just beat the shit out of them. And I didn't get involved because normally, you know how police officers are. They like to take everybody to jail. They don't know who's a good citizen, who's not. So I stood out of it that night. Probably wouldn't stay out of it again, but I did that night. And that's the power of thinking. When your mind is clean, problems walk by you. If your mind's really clean, you're not even on the same street. So we're going to talk a little bit about mental upgrades in the next video. Peace.